think it's time for the big one, the Wolfguard Battle Leader. Hi, welcome back to the channel, and we've painted quite a few of these Space Wolves now, about 9 or 10, and I feel like I've got a good grasp on a colour scheme, some techniques, and what I like about them and how to do them. So I thought I'd push myself and try and do the big centrepiece of the box, you know, the big main event, the Wolfguard Battle Leader. I did something similar with the Black Templar Combat Patrol, the last box I did. I painted pretty much everything in it, like 10 to 12 models, and then I took everything I learned and funneled it into this Marshal, like a best looking Black Templar ever, like put everything into it, all the things I learned, all my skills, and try to really make the best one. And I want to do the same with this box. So without further ado, let's start building and painting this guy. Alright, so we've got our book and our tiny little sprue, and immediately before we dive into anything, this hammer just stands out to me so much. Oh my god, it looks unreal. Look how cool that looks. And the wolf head on the side, the big runes. Yeah, this is definitely going on the model somewhere. But there's some cool looking things on this sprue. I'm excited to get stuck in. And yeah, there it is. It's a nice little double page spread to get stuck into. I see the hammer already, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's build the body up first, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1 to 5 for the body and the 2 legs. Oh, this is a big boy, look at that. A huge stance, the flowing cape. I'm already a big fan of this guy. Let's slide him off to one side while his legs dry. So, following up from that, we've got the front pelt. I'm pretty sure I don't want the shield on because the head takers have got the shield, and while it does look really cool, I love the look of like a dual wielding head taker battle leader. So I know I want the hammer on one side, and this is telling me to do a gun, but I do want to just double check. Is there any way I can take a sword off of the head taker and give it to the battle leader and have that similar effect of just like a hammer in one hand and a sword in the other? Because that'd be the coolest thing ever if it works. So I've actually used some blue tack to kind of temporarily construct him. I've gotten a bit ahead of myself with the hammer. I'm not sure actually, you know, now that I've put the sword and the hammer on him, I'm not 100% sold on it. Don't know why, something about it, it's not really doing it for me. So, I guess we'll stick with maybe the gun. Maybe, yeah, actually. Yeah, I much prefer the gun. Yeah, much a cooler looking model, proper like power stance, huge hammer in motion, like gun in hand. Yeah, absolutely love this. Much better than the dual wielding. So one final thing I want to play around with before we carry on with the normal building process. I'm convinced somewhere I saw someone put the shield on the back of his backpack. I can't find it again anywhere. I don't know how they did it, but before I commit to anything else, I do want to kind of try that. So I'm going to clip out the shield and the backpack and see if I can just like slot it on and see what it looks like. Oh my god, I think we might be onto something here. Look at that. That is so cool. Yeah, look at him. Huge, chunky, like massive power armor and hammer, and then the huge shield on the back. It just adds like a little bit more volume to the top back of him. Oh, I do. Yeah, big fan of that. Like he's carrying it into battle with him. Because what does it look like off? Like if we get rid of it. Ugh. I mean, it still looks kind of cool, but just add something extra to him, you know? Oh yeah, definitely going to do that. Okay, awesome. Right, let's get back to where we were, because we're getting to that point now where we need to start picking our sub-assemblies. But so far, oh my god, I'm already excited to get stuck in and start painting him, and I've not even primed him yet. Okay, so where were we? We've done the arms, and then we've picked the other arm, that's all good. So next up it's the shoulder pads, the backpack, and so you've got this sort of like front thing here. Oh my god, okay. 2 hours later, we finally managed to temporarily stick him together with some blue tack. I don't dare touch him, but oh my god, what? This is like the coolest model I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't have super high expectations for this guy when I first decided to do him. I was like, oh, he'll just be like a head taker. But oh my god, this might be the coolest looking model I've ever seen. he's just got so much going on, like the huge fur pelts going all over him. The big massive hammer does a lot of heavy lifting for me. It's this imagery actually, yeah. The hammer, the cape, and the shield on the back. Like this is huge, stonking, angry wolf guard. Like, I can't put it into words. This is just like, yeah, the coolest thing that I've ever seen. Oh my god, I can't wait to paint him. But before that, we need to prime him. So what I'll do is I'll go outside. We're going to do a Zenithal. So we're going to do Chaos Black. Is it Chaos Black? Yeah. Chaos Black, and then we're going to take some matte whites and do like a Zenithal effect around, all around like a cone coming from upwards to make like some shadows. And here he is, all Zenithalled up, and there's nice lovely shadows from the white and black primer. This is unreal. Yeah, I absolutely love. This is one of my favourite parts of the process. Is if like it's that transition from like, okay, the building's done, now the painting starts, and it's just getting to see him with all that primer on. It looks so cool with all these shadows. Like, look at that cape. I love that the divot's got some shadows into it. And then I guess if we start pulling it apart, we'll see. So we've got all these 9 individual pieces. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the sub-assembly painting like normal. So like the arms, the shoulders, the backpack, and all of the armour. Nothing fancy there. But then I think my plan is with the fur, leave all the fur like unpainted, glue the whole model together, and then paint the fur when it's on, just because I find it easier, especially when you've got stuff like this cloak here and then this fur all joins up. Like, it's kind of hard to get that nice smooth transition of colours across the fur when it's like a little chunk here, a little chunk there. So I guess we can make a start on all the armour. So what we'll do is, actually I guess we need some of these pieces because they've got armour on them. So we'll go over all of the armour panels with a thinned down contrast Space Wolves grey, like 2 or 3 to 1, like really thinned down. And then once that's dry, we'll go over the thinned down layer of Tyran blue just to darken the armour down. Yes, finally get started. These big, heavy-duty character units are so funny because when you're painting like an infantry and you do the base armour, you're like, oh, that's 80% of it done. I've done a huge bit of the groundwork. I've been really productive. I've done a big step forward, you know. Whereas because these guys have got so much detail, like with the fur, the belt, and the cape, there's not actually that much armour panels. So like you do the base layer, and you're like, oh, that's nothing. I haven't done a lot, but it's cool. I do love all the extra details in the front of them. It's amazing. So speaking of which, that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to do the fur, knife and belt. Yeah, everything on the front, and then we'll switch to the cape. So I'll start with my least favourite part, the bloody belts. I hate them. These things, I just feel like I can't get a good, clean look for them, you know? So what colours are they meant to be? I'm assuming it's black for the background. Okay, yeah, so what we'll do is we'll do black for the background of the belt, and then, I guess, Balthasar for the skull, and then a little bit of gold for the trim. That's not too bad. I guess we can do the fur all around it as well, actually, yeah. But this isn't attached to anything, so we can do that. And that'll be some Skeleton Horde and Cygor Brown mix. Oh, there we go. That's looking pretty good. I think maybe the secret for these belts was just to be a little bit more delicate and slow. I did use the size 00 brush for some of the trim, which felt a little bit excessive, but it gets the job done. It's looking alright. Same with the fur, actually. I do really like the fur. A lot of people have mentioned, and I was in the same boat, that the fur is quite intimidating. But I actually think once you start sort of messing around with it, it's not too bad. You just blend together a bunch of like browns, and you can't really go wrong with it because it's natural, so it look a bit all patchy and messy anyway. And now that I've got a bit of a hang of it with a few reps under my belt, I quite like getting a little bit creative and just sort of splashing Skeleton Horde, Cygor Brown, Agrax Earthshade. I think in the past I've done like Mournfang and Rhinox Hide that really like watered down into like a glaze. I quite like sort of like smishing all the wet paint together to make this cool blend, and yeah, I quite like the way it looks. So there's only a few final bits left to do on this front section. There is this knife, which will be some combination of browns and Balthasar, I think, for the casing. Oh, I did mention actually, sorry. I did say earlier I was going to do Balthasar on the belt, but I've actually gone with Retributor, just because I like with these big, huge leaders, giving them like as much gold, bright gold as possible. But with the knife, I do think I might do a little bit of Balthasar, just because I quite like the Balthasar against the leather. It's quite a nice pairing. And then it's got a strip down here that will just be like Dryad bark, and then some Zandri dust for the teeth. And that should be pretty much all the detail, apart from a couple of little bolts and whatnot. So that's all the details on the torso, the knife, the fur, the belt, even these little trinkets on his legs, like the teeth. This model so far has been absolutely great. It's having a nice middle ground between like the normal infantry units. I'm just trying to look for one. Yeah, like the normal infantry that just got like one or two extra bits on, and then this thing I did last week for Wolf Priest is just details, details, details. Like this thing was just an overload, so it's quite nice to come back to this sort of nice middle ground. Like a little bit fancier than a normal dude, but not like just a sea of trinkets and runes and pouches like the last one. But the final thing for the torso is the cloak, and it'll just be Baal red, I think, just over everything. So this nice smooth layer of Baal red, and then what I'll probably do is highlight it with some Evil Sun Scarlet across the raised edges, like here. Maybe I'll do some dry brushing along the top where like the bumps are. Maybe even dry brush somewhere up here. There we go. All of the torso and the main body pretty much done. There's one tiny bit left on the back with the fur, but like I keep mentioning, we'll get to that at the end. But yeah, it's the belt, the pelt, the knife, and then the cape. Unbelievable. It's looking so cool. Look at that. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's really nice to come back to a model that's just one or two like big details, like the belt and the knife, rather than that Wolf Priest that had like 100 teeny tiny little pouches, runes, furs, belts. Like, oh my god, there was just so much. It was like overwhelming. But this is a real nice like middle ground. I think what I've realised I really like about this and the head takers as well, because they've just got like 1 or 2 bits of detail, like the knife and the belt. It means I can really spend a lot of time making them look as good as possible. So like I was doing the knife, and you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the model, but I was like highlighting everything down to, there's like a band on there, and I was like highlighting even that with like Evil Sons, and I was really taking my time. And it lets me put a lot of time and focus on these details because there's just 1 or 2 big ones. But no, it's a good balance to have like just a couple little details on them, but big and interesting enough that you can sink some time into. Where do we go from here? Other than to bed, because it's like 10:30. I feel like the past few videos have always been the same. Like I do the one big main bit, and then I'm like, it's bedtime. But just the way I end up starting them at midday, and after like building, priming, and doing all of that, it takes me to like the evening anyway. But what have we got that I can need doing? Just trying to think of a running order. Like I mentioned, I might go to bed in like 15-20 minutes, so I might see if we can do something small. Tell you what, actually, because we're not doing the fur on the shoulders until it's all built together, we'll do the shoulder pads next. It's just going to be some trim and some colours on the pads, and that's it. Nice and easy. So like we mentioned, we'll start with some Imperial Fist over the actual shoulder pads themselves, and then we can slap some Retributor on this trim. There we go, just a nice little pre-bed win. To honestly like a 5-minute, maybe like 10-minute job actually. Let's put this to one side. I'm not sure what I'm going to start off with next in the morning. Maybe the arms, probably, just so we can start like putting the fur and stuff together. I really want to do this shield. I'm so excited for it. I just want to put loads of time into it and make it look incredible. Maybe we'll do that after the arms. Maybe we'll do the arms and then we'll do this little backpack and shield situation. Let's see how I feel in the morning. So for me it'll be a few hours, but for you guys it'll be a few seconds, if that. There we have it, it's morning. Yeah, I've got some mental clarity, I'm alert, and I think with all of this fresh focus, I want to move on to the bit I'm most excited about, and that is the shield and the backpack as well. But yeah, I really want to get this done right, because it'll look so cool on the back, just sat like that. So just put some silver on these little exhausts. We'll leave this middle crest thing because it's going to be covered. Then this giant halo we'll just do a Retributor, and it's got a little gem in there as well. We'll put some washers on. So yeah, let's quickly just smash this one out and then move on to the main attraction, the shield. That's all of the colours done. It's looking pretty snazzy, I like that. I just need to put some shades on it. And what I'm going to do, I'm not actually going to put Reichlin Flesh shade on this section, even though I am just obsessed with it on gold at the minute. I'm actually just going to use some Nuln Oil, just because there's a few divots in there I want it to sit in, plus I kind of want to wash the gem as well. I think Reichlin Flesh shade on top of red and silver would be a bit weird. So what we're going to do quickly is just chuck some Nuln Oil on it, highlight the gem with some Evil Suns, then we can move on to the main attraction. Cool, so next up we've got the shield, which I'm super excited for, but also a little bit nervous because, like I mentioned last week, I'm not 100% set on like bone, skulls, like recipes yet. I don't kind of know what the best look is. So in the past I did this head taker, which was Basilicanum Grey, and I dry brushed Celeste Grey over the top, which I think looks okay and looks cool. But this shield is going to be black, so I don't think grey on black would look that right. I kind of want to do like a bony look. I managed to get like a cool bone look on this guy's face, which was just Wraithbone with some Agrax Earthshade like thinned down over the top, and I think I might stick with that for this shield. And then the rest of the shield is going to be Black Templar around the gaps, and then Retributor around the trim. So we'll do those two parts, then we'll get onto the fur and the trinkets afterwards. You know what, I was going to dry brush some more Wraithbone over the top to line it up a bit, but I'm actually quite happy with how it looks right now. What I think I might do is the details, like the trim, the rope, the fur, there's a tooth and a rune in there. So I might do everything else and the gem actually, and then see how I feel, because it looks okay. I'd like it to be a little bit lighter. I've been in this situation before where I've been like, it looks kind of okay, let me dry brush it, and then it looks awful. So I'm going to leave it like this for now, see how it looks with everything else on, and then maybe if I still feel like I want it a little bit lighter at the end, I can try. But so far, I'm fairly happy. So, like I mentioned, we'll put some Dryad bark on the rope. I think with this tassel, I'm just going to do Zandri dust and some skeleton horde sort of shading, and other little details, and Retributor for the trim. Right, there's a lot of the details done in this shield, and well, yeah, this has reminded me of the Wolf Priest when it was just like endless little pieces. So there's the main chunky bit done, and now that it's actually, I'm going to be honest, I've been to the gym since I did all this, so it's actually dried quite a lot, and it's a lot brighter than it was earlier. I feel like it's dried quite nicely. Either that, or when you compare it to the dark background, I'm not sure. But either way, I like it a lot. I am definitely going to leave it like this. And then yeah, we've got the band, teeth, the rune, which is still drying. The fur, yeah, and some of the little silver bolts, and just tidied up some of this black. You know what, this is looking really, really cool. I'm super keen to see it on the model, contrasting all the light blues and reds. I think it will pair nicely. But before we put this down, we've still got the gem to do, which will be like a trim of gold with red and some highlights, and then I think I want to put some Nuln oil over the black, and then some Lycran flesh shade over the gold, I think, and that'll probably be it. So yeah, just one or two tiny little details, or just one actually, the gem, and then some washes. There we go, shield's all done, look at that. This is incredible, I'm really, really happy with this. I've really taken my time. I've really been delicate on every aspect, highlighting individual details. I've been trying to be really, really precise and clean with everything, because when the last model I did with the Wolf Priest, I felt like I was really messy and lots of overlap and spinach. So for this thing, I've just tried to be as delicate as possible. I don't know if that comes up, but really tried to be as clean and staining the lines and like a little less overspill, if you will. I feel like it's paying off, you know. This looks really clean and good. Super happy with that. Plus the backpack itself is done. Forgot about that. We did that this morning. Oh, that is looking good as well. A little bit messy actually on the trim. Only on one side actually. Just a couple teensy tiny spillovers. But overall, really, really happy with these. So we can put these to one side. They're done. The body's done. Oh wow, there's not a lot left. I want to glue the shoulders on so we can start doing the fur. But before that I need to do the arms, because obviously the arms go in and the shoulders on top. So, we'll do the arms next. I'll start off by doing, I guess we can do the gloves, because they're both the same. They're like gems and bolts on both of them. And there's some like armour ribbons as well that need to be, probably Black Templar. And then we can move on to the actual weapons. So we've got the hammer and the gun. And yeah, I can't wait to do this hammer. It looks so cool. I've seen some really good recipes online with like some golds and some blacks and reds and stuff. So yeah, really keen to put some colour on this and make it look incredible. But let's get started, shall we? So, same gem recipe as always. We'll just do some Retributor for the trim, and then some Mephiston Red for the gem, and then we'll also highlight the gem with some Evil Suns, and maybe even a teensy tiny spot of Troll Slayer, just as like a spot highlight. Cool, so nice quick little gems and bolts on the gloves. Looking okay, a little bit messy on some of the red actually, to be fair, especially with those edge highlights. But they're kind of alright, and they're just quite a small detail on the hands, so I'm not too bothered. So I'm getting a little bit mentally drained, because we've been painting for a while. Like in this session we've done the backpack, the shield, and these gloves, which don't seem like a lot, but this shield had so much on it. This was probably more work than the torso actually. But yeah, with that in mind, I'm just going to start with the gun, because that looks the simplest. I think it's just going to be Black Templar for most of it, a little bit of Leadbelcher, and then there's a skull that will be like a Balthasar, I think. Yeah, probably that. And then after this, I might call it there for today, see where we're at. At least take a long break and then come back to do the hammer. So yeah, let's slap some colour on this gun and see how we feel where we're at and what time it is. Oh, and there's the gun. All of its colours and its thick, shoddy highlights. Yeah, I can tell I'm getting a bit mentally tired from a bit of a long session, so I might call it there for now. Have a bit of a rest, maybe even go to bed and come back tomorrow, you know. Have a fresh start, and then next thing you'll see is me carrying on with this hammer. So it'll probably be just some mixture of red for the handle, maybe black for the hammer, and gold for the head. Yeah, keen to put some colours on this. There we go, there's all of the colours on the hammer, and that is unreal. I love the black and the silver, the gold, the red. So many bright, vibrant colours against like other dark ones, like I said, like the gold and the red against the black and the silver. Just, oh, looks real nice. I'm super excited to start putting some shades and highlights on it as well to give it some more depth. So, I think we're going to go with Reichland for the gold, this head, this insignia, and the hair, the trims. And then we'll grab some non-oil for the hammer, the black and the silver, and then we'll just get a little bit of Agraxar shade for the red. And maybe this brown bit at the bottom as well, the tassel. There we go. All the shading and the highlights done. I always say it, but I love these big chunky melee weapons. They're so cool. I love that he's holding it at the bottom as well, like it's just in a big, huge swing. Yeah, 10 out of 10. I love these. But there's one final thing left for this hammer, and then that is the rune. So it's got these runes on either side that are like quite dipped in. And I really want to do something cool with them. And I did say I don't want to try anything too new or fancy, and I just want to make this like the best looking Space Wolf ever. But I can't help myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make these runes glow. I saw someone online mention an interesting way to try it, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take some Cygor blue, just because it's the lightest blue I've got at the minute. And that's the glowing colour I want. And we're going to water this down, so it's like really thin, and also mix in some white, so it's like a lot brighter. And we're going to drop that into the runes. That will give it the base colour. And then to add the glow effect, I'm going to try dry brushing that light Cygor blue mix just over the top of the runes to see how that looks. Oh yeah, I'm talking like this here, like look, it's like basically just water. Like, I think one little bit of Cygor, one little bit of white, and then 2 scoops of Lania medium. So let's see if we can drip that into the rune before it dries out. Oh, look at that, that's quite cool. Oh, that's really good. Hopefully it stays like that when it dries. There's a little bit more at the top that needs putting in actually. Yeah, look at that. Just do the other side quickly and then dry brush some of this same mix over the top. So I've tried the dry brush over the top and it's okay. Like, you can kind of tell when you look at the top, like this is a lot more dark silver and this is a lot brighter. So the glow effect's kind of okay, but I think the rune itself is just really a bit too white. So what I'm going to do is I've got just here a little bit more Cygor blue watered down, less white this time, it's a little bit darker. So I'm just going to see if I can darken down the rune, see if that makes any difference. Oh, I tell you what, if there's anything that's going to get me to bite the bullet and buy an airbrush, it's these like runes and these glowing effects. I've been trying to poke and prod at them for a little while, doing all sorts like dry brushing, putting some watered down like light blues and whites around the edges, and nothing's really sticking and standing out as like, oh wow, that looks incredible. I will say, I do like the actual blue runes though, like sort of just painting it just blue, even with like no glow effect around the edge, it looks really cool, proper stands out. I like that. But that's it for the hammer. I think next up we can start building it, you know? So, we've done both arms, shield, the backpack, and the shoulder pads and the trim, just not the fur, and all the torso. So yeah, we can actually glue all of it together and then work on the fur, and then he's got like a thing around his chest that's got some details on it, as well as the fur and the face. So not long to go actually, flying through this. Oh my god, look at that guy. Holy shit, he is massive. I love how wide this hammer swings out. Massive power stance, he's an absolute unit. And he hasn't even got like the shield or the head on yet. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, this is, wow. Yeah, I absolutely love this. Oh my god. So next up we've got the fur to do, and then so yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like now that it's all one big cohesive unit, it's a lot easier to paint, although I have noticed that there is a gap somewhere in him. Oh yeah, there you go, you can see it just there. Just where that front section meets the shoulder, actually to the back there, which is a bit annoying. This side's pretty clean. But yeah, maybe that's something to work on in the future as well, just tidiness of the build. It's not really something I've actually focused too much on. So, just some skeleton horde over all of the fur, and then some Cygor Brown down the middle. Also, one thing I have been really wanting to add into these builds is some highlights for the golds, like this hammer and the shield. I've seen in videos people highlighting them enough. Don't really know what to do with the gold, to be fair. Like, I haven't really had a highlight in colour. So I've looked into it, and I've seen people mention Liberator Gold, I think it is. Yeah, I mentioned this little colour here. So I've actually popped out earlier. So actually, while all this fur was drying and all this glue was setting, I actually popped out and bought some of this Liberator Gold. So once we've fully built this guy and we get to that stage of doing edge highlights, we can actually highlight some of the shield and this hammer as well, which is something I'm real keen to do. Just because, like I mentioned, I never ever highlight any of the gold. I feel like it might step the model up a little bit. Sweet, so that's a nice blend of skeleton horde and Cygor Brown. I just put down layer of skeleton, some Cygor over the middle, and then I kind of put some more skeleton horde on the brush and try to like blend the two together. Although I'm a bit worried that this front pelt is just kind of amalgamated into one solid colour. And that's kind of hard to see when it dries, because you can see on the shoulder here it's kind of a little bit of separation. In fact, there's actually a tiny bit there that's not got any on it, so we'll just put some skeleton horde on there. There we go. Then around the back, kind of see some separation here. That's just, oh, and again, this is kind of looks like it's moulded together into one. I also missed some Zandri dust. Also missed some skeleton horde on the actual skin there. So just chuck that on. Cool, now this stuff always takes absolutely forever to dry. So while all that dries, we can actually do the necklace. So there's like a chain in there that will be silver, some teeth, a rune, and this insignia. And then we're getting close to the end. Oh, so it's looking really good now. Look at that. All these nice little details coming together. So the fur's all dry. I've just painted the claws black as well on the front and the back. And I've done the teeth, chain, rune, and this tiny little insignia there. I think that's everything for the body. There's some rocks on the base, but we'll get to the base in a sec. Wow, this is looking good. There's a lot of fur. Like a lot. I do like the way the fur looks. It's just, I do kind of wish there was a little bit more variance in the outside and the inside, kind of like the edge being a little bit brighter and the middle being darker. For the most part, it just kind of looks like one blend, but I mean, it looks okay. Like, it looks kind of cool at a glance. I like that it's a little bit brighter than the pelt at the bottom, just to add some variance. Yeah, really big fan of this so far, super happy with it. In terms of the body, all that's left now to paint is the head, this little guy, to go in there. And then obviously we'll glue the head and the backpack and the shield on. So let's move this to one side while the base dries. Find a cork and some blue tack for the head. So for the hair and beard, we're just going to use some skeleton horde contrast, which we've been spamming over this model a lot, to be fair. But then we're going to darken it down with some Nuln oil just to fill in the recesses, and then see how that looks. And for the face, what we'll do, probably some, base of Bugman's Glow, And then some Kislev flesh. Yeah, some Kislev flesh over. Oh, actually, no, Rakar flesh. Actually, put some Rakar flesh over the top to give it a bit of a brighter face. So yeah, base of Bugman's and Rakar flesh, and then so let's do the hair and the skin first, and then we'll tackle those horrible, teeny tiny features. Right, nowhere near the best looking face I've ever done, but it's a face nonetheless. I did put some Rakar flesh on as a second layer. Nope, that's not dust. But I wasn't a massive fan of it. I thought it looked a bit too chalky and weird, so I switched it up and put a layer of Kislev flesh over the top. So, yeah, I was a bit hesitant to use the Kislev because it's kind of like a similar shade to the hair. And that looks fine, it'll be okay. Like, I think maybe I should have, if I was going to use Skeleton Horde for the hair, gone for like a darker skin tone. But it's what it is now, just have to make it work. So, next up is the dreaded eyes, the worst part ever that I absolutely hate. Let's grab some Corax White, just going to take the size 00 and try and drop a minuscule, just poke, that's it, nothing else. There's got some teeth that I'm going to see if I can paint white as well. There we go, the face all finished. I think that's the best it's going to get. Like, it's not my best face, but we're working on it, and I know where to improve on stuff like the eyes and some of the details. So, it's okay. We know where to work on and what we need to improve on. But, with that being said, that's everything done. That's the whole face, the body, the shield, the backpack, everything. There's just one final thing we need to do before we glue it all together, and that's the base. So, we just need to paint this. I'm going to go with White Scar, wherever it is, and then put some Valhalla Blizzard on it. And then these rocks are going to be Eshian Grey and then Celeste Grey. And I think that's it. I don't want to do anything too fancy with the base, especially not after my last Wolf Priest, where I went all out. I kind of want to keep this guy nice and simple. So let's slap some of these colours on and then finish him up. Oh, and there it is. The base is all done. Look at that, nice and simple. Just some snow. I put down some Calgar blue actually with the White Scar, and I put some fake water over the top and mixed it in a kind of like a bluey, icy effect. Kind of looks quite cool. You can see there, kind of looks like ice underneath the snow. But like I mentioned, just something super basic with the base. Didn't want to go all out. No, it's looking quite cool. Now all that's left is two things: a building. So just got to put the shield, backpack, and helmet on. And I also forgot I did want to play around with some edge highlights. Now that I've seen it and where everything's facing and sort of the volume of it, I was thinking of putting some edge highlights of Fenrisian Grey on top of the knee, the hand guard here, maybe some here. And then I did mention I want to try this new Liberated Gold that I brought for the shield, at the top of the shield and the top of the hammer. So let's give that a try. Oh, and here he is. I don't know why I'm doing a big build-up. You've already seen it when the highlighting section. Du-du-du-du. Yeah, look at this guy. What an absolute unit. Oh my god. This, do you know what? Look at that shield, yeah. This guy was so much more enjoyable than I thought. Unreal. I just thought it'd be a cool little extra head taker, but it turns out, no, he's like Black Templar Marshal level. Like, he's incredible. Oh my god, this might be one of the best Space Wolves I've done. Oh, this probably is the best Space Wolf I've ever done. Look at him, what a guy. I'm so happy how that shield turned out as well. Like, look at that, like the shield on his back, the big huge hammer. Oh, yeah, model-wise, 10 out of 10. All the little extras, the stance, like the pose. Yeah, absolutely love this guy. What a good time. So yeah, I guess I don't know where to start with the painting. I will say I'm super, super happy with the base coat. Like, now that I've got all of the trinkets on, like the fur and the arms and everything, I was a little bit apprehensive at the start when like half of it wasn't even painted or primed because it was underneath this fur and it wasn't like a lot of armor to paint. I was like, oh, but no, especially like on this leg down here, it looks real nice. Like the volumetric sort of shades from the Zenithal look real good. Super happy with that, which is nice because I feel like it's taken me a long time to get to this stage with Space Wolves. Like I feel like I've tried a few different base coats and every time it's been a bit of, but no, I'm real happy with where we're at now, which is good. I love this cape as well. Not much to it. I kind of wish we could improve it a little bit more. Some more highlights. There's some like scratches in it, and I've seen people highlight them, but I wasn't sure sort of how to go about it, and I didn't want to risk making it look any worse. So maybe that's something to work on in the future. And the fur itself is nice and simple, like a nice spread of colours, a bit quite more coherent than the last one we did, which is nice. I'm a fan of that. And sticking with the belt, I really like this knife in the middle. You know, it's like a cool detail, but like big enough so I can sink some time into it. Like I mentioned earlier, like even highlighting the red band, which we can zoom in. Like it's a cool little detail, but like big enough that I can put a real good chunk of attention and detail into it. Like I even highlighted some of those like straps, all the individual pieces. Yeah, really, really like that. Now, as for the gun, I think the gun's okay. I'm not really sure where to go with these guns yet. They're quite simple. It's just black, silver, and some highlights. Like the highlights definitely need some work. They're a bit like chunky and sloppy, but once I've got those down, I don't really know sort of how do you step them up. Like where do you go from there? So I'd be keen to know if there's any extra cool things you can do with like weapons and stuff like that. But yeah, sticking with weapons, a big fan of this hammer. I absolutely love it. Oh, this way actually. Yeah, look at all those details. That cool like wolf head looks really, really good in like gold. I'm quite happy with the runes as well, you know, like just bold blue in there. Not too worried about the glow effect that I was going for. Oh, yeah, this is looking good. I definitely prefer it with like a more prominent blue in there rather than just the white. But yeah, love that. I'm still a big fan of the white flesh shade on the gold, like you can see on the shield, the shoulder pads, the head. Yeah, I much prefer the white flesh shade over the top of this gold rather than Agrak Surf shade. But I'm super happy with this model overall. Nothing really stands out as like. Actually, I'm lying to you. This shield stands out as like my favourite thing ever. Not because I think it's the best painting thing. I do think it's one of the cleanest things I've ever done. Like, look at that, like it's really neat and tidy. All within the lines. No overspills, pretty consistent. Like this might be one of the cleanest things I've ever painted in terms of it's like general tidiness. Like that's a big fan of that. Not a massive fan of the fur that's sticking out from the bottom. Didn't get a lot of primer, so it's mostly black, which means the fur's really dark. So maybe that would have been something to work on. It's kind of hard to see sometimes when you take it all apart, like what's going to be seen and what's not. Because yeah, it kind of would be nicer if it was a bit more like that fur on the front, like a little bit lighter around the back. But no, this shield is definitely my favourite part. I absolutely love it. It's also just so cool on the back. Like look at that. It's like the imagery of him standing there with this big hammer and like the shield kind of adding some volume to these upper half. I absolutely love it. Yeah, definitely my favourite part and the most interesting part of the model by far. But yeah, armour, fur, everything's looking good. Little details. I like the teeth as well. I kind of did a half and half. I say half and half. I put Zandri dust over all of it. And a little touch of white flesh shade at the top, and it's made a nice like gradient. It's quite cool. Overall, pretty clean and pretty tidy. I'm really happy with this. Absolutely love it. Let's just look at that shield one more time though. Oh, yeah, look at that. That is good. Actually, can we get a good zoom in? Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's nice. Couple little sections on like the left hand side here I tried to highlight a little bit and then gave up just there. But from that side, yeah, absolutely love that. Really happy with it. Really like the black as well. The black on the bone and the red, very cool. I do kind of wish I could like take it off and put it on his arm just to see what it would look like, but no, absolutely love it. Oh, actually, I forgot. Sorry, I also used the Liberator Gold for the first time. Because it's the first time I used it, it doesn't really stand out to me too much. So I'm like, I can't really see the difference. Some sections it is like. I use it quite heavily on this head. You can kind of make it out. I don't know how much it comes up on camera. But just the tips are a little bit brighter and a little bit more silver. I did try to go a little bit ham with it and like go hard and use a lot of it because I was like, oh, it's a new shiny toy, let's try and like push it to the extreme. You can kind of see there actually it's a little bit sloppy on his shoulder pad. I tried to put some along the top, but overall I like it, it's really good. I definitely want to keep using it just so I can get a good eye for what it looks like compared to the Retributor, because they're quite similar, so it's kind of doesn't really stand out as much for me at the minute, so I want to keep using it so I can sort of, like I mentioned, get a good vibe for it. But no, I quite like it, it's cool. Definitely has a little bit more volume to the gold rather than making it just completely flat. There we have it, the Wolfguard Battle Leader. Probably my cleanest Space Wolf ever. And yeah, these videos are like some of my favourites, because I like, it's like a culmination of everything we've done with this box, kind of like over, how many videos is it? So it was 7 videos and countless models, and it's, yeah, I just love the culmination of all of that coming into like a model like this and it turning out so good. Like, I absolutely love it. It's so cool. Also, I feel like we even incorporated a little bit of the like the kit bashing Black Templar Intercessor Sergeant with like the shield on the back and stuff, and playing around with that. So even beyond just the Space Wolves box, I feel like we're really getting to a point now where we can take things we've learned and really like funnel them in and mix them all up and make like really cool looking models, which is such a great place to be at the hobby. Like, I'm really enjoying this. And I definitely think like kit bashing, custom aces, I think that's sort of where we're going at the minute. Kind of a path we're just exploring. And I think it's going to be cool in the future as well, just to like find cool new stuff, try it out a little bit and latch onto it and like explore it, similar to like the kit bashing and the basing, as well as obviously developing the core skills like smooth application, stuff like something I really want to work on more is the tidiness, like with this model, making sure everything's like neat and clean and tidy. And in a similar vein, the amount of paint on the brush, the consistency of paint, and those like core basics I really want to work on still. So that'd be really good to focus on top of trying cool new fun stuff. But in a similar vein, time-wise, this only took about 4 hours, I think, from building, priming, and painting. Like 4 hours of paint time. I think it's done 3 days overall. I started this Sunday, Monday, and today's Tuesday, so yeah, about 3 days, about 4 hours of painting time, like picking it up and putting it down here and there, which I think is quite good, you know? Considering like how cool it looks, like, I think 4 hours of paint time for this is alright. And again, another cool thing is being at that point where it's like, I don't have to think really, really hard about a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't actually really follow a tutorial for this. I looked at some bits and bobs for the War Hipster Contrast Plus guide for this model. I like clicked through it every now and again just to double check some stuff, but I wasn't like, what is this one? Okay, this paint goes here, this paint goes there. It was just like, oh, I know how I do base armor for Space Wolves. I kind of know that handles and heads for weapons, and I know what I like about fur. So yeah, it's cool to be like that with the Space Wolves. So yeah, this was a blast. It was actually really fun thinking about it. You know what? Yeah, because it was spread over 3 days, I was very much picking up, putting it down. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, no, actually, yeah, this was really fun. I really enjoyed this model. It was cool. It was super cool. Really fun. Yeah, I've been loving the Space Wolves, and to be fair, there's still a few bits left in the box. I do feel like I'm on the down low of the box now. I've kind of done everything I've wanted to do with it. I've done the sort of centerpiece model, you know, like the big boy, like the main one. But I've still got one head taker, the Blood Claw pack leader, and then like 2 Fenrisian Wolves, 1 Fenrisian Wolf, and some random like Grey Hunters. So I've still got a couple of little bits and bobs. So I'll do something with them and play around with them. If you've got any ideas of what you want to see for those models in particular, let me know, because I've not really got anything set in stone that I want to do with them. The only thing I want to do is the head taker again and compare it to my first head taker, because this was like the first, well, I did a Grey Hunter, but this was like the first big like Space Wolf I did, and I'm not too happy with him for a multitude of different reasons. So it'd be really cool to do another head taker and then compare it, like, look how much progress we've made, and actually have 2 models like of the same to compare. So that'd be cool to do. But yeah, some wolves and like a bunch of Grey Hunters and the Bloodclaw back leader. So if you've got any cool ideas, let me know. But moving on from the Space Wolves, we've got that Execrator coming up, what day is that, Tuesday? This weekend. Unbelievable. So this video will go live on Friday. The Execrator will hopefully turn up at my house on Saturday or Sunday, and then I'll just fly for it. Like, I know for a fact the second it arrives, I'm just going to rip it open and just go straight into it. I'll probably end up doing it in like a day or two, just because I can't wait. I'm so excited. Do like the bones and like the big weapons, and like really excited to do a tabard as well. Like, I do like those big centerpiece cloth pieces. They're quite cool. Like the fur's kind of similar, like a big thing on the front. But I'm keen to do a tabard again. Like, yeah, I'm excited for that. So yeah, that's what's coming up next week. And then I think I'm sprinkling some little videos here and there. Like, I've been saying it for so long. I really want to do the basing for my Black Templar. I need to get around to doing them. And then a couple cool little bits and bobs here and there. So yeah, if you want to see those, drop a like and subscribe, and get notified when they go live, and tune in next time. Thank you.